So a few months ago, I did a favorites video. I really enjoyed making that video just because it's nice to document those types of things, like the stuff you're into. I just really like to keep track of stuff like that. I always make lists of like my favorite music of the month, my favorite books of the month, my favorite movies of the month. Like I always make lists of that. So I thought I might as well put it in a video because it's just fun to look back on. With that being said, here are my favorite things of this winter. So the first thing I want to talk about is movies and TV shows because I've been watching a lot of things. I made it a point for myself this year to watch more movies. I feel like I just haven't seen a lot of movies that, you know, you should have seen. The only movies that I've seen are like the Disney movies. So, you know, I gotta branch out a little bit. Anyways, the first big movie that I watched was The Last Jedi. If you didn't know, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I grew up with Star Wars ever since I was a kid, and I love The Last Jedi. I don't think it's a particularly good movie. Objectively, is it a good movie? I'm not so sure. There's a lot of things wrong with it, and there were some things that I didn't like about it. But did I enjoy it? Yes. 100% yes. Then I'm looking into my bullet journal because I write down everything in there. I watched The Devil Wears Prada for the first time because it's one of those iconic movies that I'd never seen, and I love Anne Hathaway and I love Meryl Streep, and I love this movie. Now, it's about this girl who doesn't know anything about fashion, but she ends up in this fashion company, and her boss is kind of this really rude person, and it's about how she handles it, and it's about people and how you treat other people. And I was a little confused by the end of it. I don't know, like the way the story progressed near the end, I was just kind of like, wait, what? But I do think it was a really good movie. After that, I wanted to watch more Anne Hathaway stuff, so I rewatched The Princess Diaries, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. I love that movie so much. Julie Andrews is everything. Princess Diaries is just about a girl who finds out she's a princess. She's just like a regular high school student, kind of a nerdy girl, and she finds out she's a princess. And I just think that's great. It's just one of those movies that makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. It reminds me of my mom because I watched it with her for the first time when I was in high school. And yeah, I just love that movie. On a completely different note, I also watched Sweeney Todd again, just because I'd been listening to the soundtrack and it made me want to rewatch the movie. Sweeney Todd is a revenge story about a barber who ends up killing a lot of people. I feel like most people know what happens, but I still don't want to spoil it in case you haven't. But like, it gets really gross. That movie is really messed up. Like that whole story, it's like even more messed up than I remember it being. And I loved it so much. I especially love the little boy in it. He is just so good. I don't know why, but I was like mind blown by him. And the song he sings is so pretty. And also aesthetically, the movie is so beautiful. I love that movie. Then I rewatched a movie that I loved in my childhood, Thumbelina. Please raise your hand if you love Thumbelina. I don't know how popular this movie is. I know a lot of my friends don't really know about this movie, but like as a kid, it was like up there with my favorite movies. It's based on the fairy tale of, you know, this little girl who was born the size of a thumb, and it's about how she just wants to fit in. She finds out about fairies and she wants to become a fairy because they're the same size as her, and she falls in love with a fairy prince, and it's such a cute story. I had the biggest crush on Prince Cornelius. Still kind of do, not gonna lie. The songs are so fun. Thumbelina is so cute and naive and just like a cute little, like you just want to protect her. I love all Don Bluth movies, but probably Thumbelina is the closest to my heart. Like for a full week, I was just listening to the Thumbelina soundtrack. Moving on. A new movie I watched was Swiss Army Man. That movie blew my mind. It's probably my favorite movie that I watched all winter. I knew I was gonna like the movie, judging by the trailer, but like it was even better than I expected. It is so different from anything else I've ever watched or experienced. It was very strange. Daniel Radcliffe's performance in that was ridiculously good. Like as Harry Potter, I always thought he was kind of weird, You know what I mean? I don't know how to explain it, but like I wasn't a big fan of him as Harry. But now, watching him do this, I'm just like, this guy is an amazing actor, and I never really knew that. I was mind blown. I thought it was amazing. I think everyone should watch this movie, although it's not for the faint-hearted. It's a story about a guy who is on this deserted island, and he's about to commit suicide when he finds this dead body, and he decides to use this dead body as a raft. It's like they kind of become friends too, because like the corpse starts talking, and like, you know, they end up trudging along through the jungle trying to get to the civilized world, and it gets weird. And then as for TV shows, I have been rewatching all of the America's Next Top Model seasons. When I was in high school, I used to sporadically watch an episode here and there, but I never like fully watched a season of America's Next Top Model, and it's so fascinating to me. I just love seeing people chasing their dreams, and yeah, I've been enjoying it. I'm on season 5 now, I think, and it's great. And then quickly I can mention I'm also watching RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars 3, which like is great. It's not finished yet, but I've been enjoying that a lot as well. Ooh, and then one more thing I've been watching is the Winter Olympics. Haven't we all? I have always been really into figure skating, and now that I live in Japan, with these Winter Olympics, everyone was talking about figure skating, especially because Yuzuru Hanyu, he's like ridiculously good. It turns out he got gold for the second time, and silver was also won by Japan, and like I just had the greatest time watching figure skating. Okay, that was a lot. Now I want to get into music because I also have a lot of good music. Number 1, the Sweeney Todd soundtrack. Number 2, the Thumbelina soundtrack. Then I've been loving some Eurovision alumni music. I've been listening to a lot of Alexander Rybak. Is that how you pronounce his name? I don't really know. The guy with the violin who sung Fairy Tale. I've been getting into his other music a lot. I love all of his music. All of his songs have kind of like this romantic feel to it. I feel like all of his songs could belong in fairy tales. Also, he reminds me of Peter Pan. I particularly love his song First Kiss and Roll with the Waves, I believe it's called. Those two are probably my favorite as of this moment. Oh, and also every song he's done for How to Train Your Dragon. He's great. Another Eurovision artist I've been listening to is Milan Stankovic. He is probably my favorite artist to ever come out of Eurovision. I'm like obsessed with him. He's a Serbian artist. I don't really know what the genre is called. It's like Balkan music. It's pop, but it's got like this folk vibe to it, which I really love. I also really love his voice. He has a very particular voice. Most of his songs are just like really dancey and like get you pumped type of music. Like when I'm walking home from work, I'll be listening to his songs and I'll be like dancing in the street. Also, I think Serbian sounds really cool. I would love to learn Serbian. If you're gonna check out one of his songs, I would recommend... Hold on. Ooh, I love Od mene se odvikavaj. Nepopravivo is good. Luda ženo is good. It's good party music. Another thing I've been loving is Arcade Fire's Everything Now album. Every song on that album is gorgeous. Although my favorite is definitely Creature Comfort. The song starts off sounding a little bit like a Muse song, which I love, and then it just like goes into this really beautiful synth, and it's just really powerful. Another song I've been listening to a lot is David Bowie's I Can't Give Everything Away. I love his whole Black Star album, but this song in particular I really love. It's a kind of song to dream away to. Like it can almost put you in a trance because it's very repetitive but very flowy the same time. And then the last song I'm going to talk about is a K-pop song. I don't know if I've mentioned K-pop on this channel before, but like I listen to K-pop. One of my favorite bands is Block B, and they came out with a new song called Shall We Dance. I feel like Block B are really good at keeping things fresh and original. I think that's everything for music. I have way more songs on my winter playlist. I think I'm gonna link my complete winter playlist down below if you want to check it out, because I just don't have the time to talk about all of them. Next up, let's talk about books. There are 3 books that I read this winter that I really loved. One of them is a reread. It's Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, so we don't have to talk about that. Harry Potter's great. The first book I really want to talk about is the first book I read this year, and it's called Sapiens. It's by Yuval Noah Harari. This book had been recommended to me by so many people online, and it seemed really interesting, so I thought I'd give it a go. It's a pretty hefty book. It's like 500 pages, but it's like really dense material. Like, this reminds me of the book I had to read for my sociology class back at university. Like, it reads like a university study book, and I hadn't read anything like that since university, so like I went really slowly with this. This took me like a month and a half to complete, but I enjoyed every single moment of this. I'm very interested in humanity as a whole. I'm interested in, you know, the history of this universe and why we are the way we are. So this was just right up my alley. I love the way everything was explained. I have ADD, learning and all that stuff. Like, it's really hard to keep my attention to stuff like this, even when I'm interested. But this was told in a way that I could keep my attention to it. It touches upon like a lot of political and economical subjects that I have never understood. In here, they are explained in such an easy to understand way. I'm just so glad I read this. I really feel like a more full-fledged human being. I don't know, this blew my mind. If any of this sounds interesting, then definitely pick this up. After reading this book though, I was ready for something completely different, and so I picked up this book, Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. This is another book that a lot of people have already raved about this, so I don't know if I have to explain what this is about, but in short, it's about a boy in high school who is gay, but he hasn't told anybody, and he finds out through the internet that one other boy in his school is gay, and they kind of start messaging each other, and it's about identity and growing up, and it's really just adorable. I loved how real the characters in this were. It was really funny, it was really sad, it was really heartwarming. It made me feel a lot of things. And pretty soon the movie for this is gonna come out. The movie's called Love, Simon, and I'm so excited to go see that because like, this book was great, and I'm really hoping the movie does it justice. I do have to say though about this book that I thought the storyline was quite predictable. Like, I knew pretty much from the beginning what was gonna happen, and a lot of the plot is figuring out who this other boy is, and like, I figured it out really quickly, and I was constantly hoping that I was gonna be wrong and that the book would surprise me, but it didn't. It was very predictable. But regardless of that, I had such a great time reading it. Like, it didn't take away from how amazing this book was. I don't think the plot necessarily was the most important thing in this book. I think the most important thing in this book is the characters and the character growth, and that was done excellently. So yeah, those are my books. Ooh, let's talk about fashion. Definitely my number one thing this winter has been my brown coat. Basically, I bought this brown coat at a thrift shop here. It was really cheap, and it's like a really good brand. Like, this is the type of coat that will last you a lifetime. And I bought it basically because I loved the color of it and it was really soft. But when I got home, I realized that there was shoulder pads in them, and like immediately that made it kind of look like a grandma's coat to me. And I was kind of like, ooh, should I take out the shoulder pads? I was really not 100% sure about it. But then out of laziness, I just never took the shoulder pads out. But this coat was like the warmest coat I had, so whenever it was cold, I would just wear it anyways. And slowly but surely, it's just become my favorite coat. It's so cozy, and the shoulder pads make it look ridiculously oversized. The more I wore it, the more I just felt cool wearing it, because it was different from what other people were wearing, and now I just think I look cool when I wear it. I just think it's great. Another category I want to talk about is YouTube. And I think the channels I enjoy the most recently are like self-improvement channels. I know that might sound a little boring, but that's really just the content I'm here for. I love watching people's journey into finding themselves or how to better themselves. I've been loving Lavendaire. I've been following her for a long time. She's a YouTuber who, just makes videos about self-improvement. A lot about like how to journal or how to envision a good future or stuff like that. And her videos are always really aesthetically pleasing. I love how beautiful her videos look as well. They're very relaxing to watch. So if you're into that, check her out. And then I also really got into Rowena Tsai's channel a lot. Content-wise, it's very similar to Lavendaire, you know, it's self-improvement. Rowena has a very relatable and fun personality, so I love watching her. She just seems like a really cool person, and she often talks from her own experiences and how she like overcame things. She's great. Aside from that category, I also really like CatCreature. She is an art student who makes vlogs, and I love watching her because I love watching people be creative. She lives a very creative life, and it kind of inspires me to be more creative, so I love watching her for that. I also found a new booktuber I really like. His name is InsaneReader. He just makes really funny videos. I love hearing him talk about books. He also makes very original videos, not just your typical book haul videos, really original, fun book videos. And then I've also gotten back into Shane Dawson's videos. I used to watch Shane Dawson when I was in high school, and then I unsubscribed because I just wasn't really feeling it anymore. But then this winter I rediscovered his videos and I just fell completely in love with them. I love the way he films videos, especially his like mini-series videos, the ones that have like part 1, part 2, or part 3. I personally think his content is really refreshing to watch. Like, he comes up with really good ideas. It's funny, like I never thought I would be subscribed to Shane Dawson again, but here we are. So I think this video has gone on for way too long. I think that's gonna be it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more of my face, please subscribe. And if you are interested in more videos about Japan, I do have another channel that's solely dedicated to videos about Japan. I run it with my husband, and we have a great time together over there. We recently posted a couple of videos about Universal Studios here in Osaka. So yeah, if you are interested in that kind of stuff, then definitely subscribe to that channel. The link will be down below. Yes, I think that will be all. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.